Well, welcome to the Georgia Southern Postgame Wrap-Up Show. I'm Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. And Mike, we're here at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. The Georgia Southern Eagles left Statesboro to try to get this game somehow in with New Hampshire. Kind of, I guess one of the thoughts was you got to get those 6 wins to be able to be bowl eligible. Little did they know they would come to Legion Field and see the Eagles start 0-2 for the first time since '94, and the first loss to a lower division team since '94 when Georgia Southern lost to West Georgia. How surprised are you that the Eagles lost here to New Hampshire?
Well, there's a lot of surprise. I mean, I think if you listen to the players and coaches all week, they'll tell you that they're preparing for New Hampshire like anyone else, that they're a good team. You know, we've talked about it. We've read and written about how they're a top 15 FCS team. We talked about how the talent's comparable. You can see what Georgia Southern was able to do with FCS players. That said, you're supposed to have, a few more guys on the team. You're supposed to be able to line up for 4 quarters and eventually wear down a team like New Hampshire, but the Eagles dug themselves too big of a hole. A couple of early mistakes for them, a couple of early good scoring drives for New Hampshire, and you could kind of sense it creeping over Georgia Southern of, oh no, here we go again. And by the time anything did start to click, it was too little too late.
Yeah, 2 turnovers this game, none, well, I guess you had 1 technically on the Hail Mary at the end of the game, but really no turnovers there in the Auburn game. Then you turn it over twice here, even though Georgia Southern leads the statistical categories like overall offense and first downs and things like that. They come up on the shorter end, 10 points shorter on the scoreboard.
Right, and last week, you had to go searching far and wide to find some good things to say about the offense, but that is what Coach Tyson Summers said, was that they protected the ball for the most part, even if they didn't move the chains. They were able to play clean and penalty free, and those are the things that really hurt them. You mentioned the 2 turnovers, but also a couple of really drive-killing penalties that took a 2nd and 1 or a 3rd and short and made it a 3rd and really unmanageable for a team that's still trying to get its feet under it offensively.
All right, well, let's get out and see some of the highlights and show you how things went here from Legion Field in Birmingham. Hurricane Irma forcing Georgia Southern to Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, where they took on FCS member New Hampshire before an estimated crowd of about 1,500. On their first possession, the Eagles doing something that took about a half to do against Auburn, and that's pick up a first down. And then, unfortunately, something they didn't do all game against Auburn, turn the ball over. The fumble recovered by New Hampshire, who promptly moved downfield. Quarterback Trevor Knight to Neil O'Connor for a first down. Later, it's running back Evan Gray for a first down, and then capping the drive, Knight to O'Connor for the touchdown. Quickly at 6-0, the Wildcats then go for 2, and Knight to a wide open Justin Malone Woods, and it's 8-0. On their next drive, the give to Gray for another first down. Gray then caps this drive with the touchdown run to make it 15-0. The Eagle offense continuing to sputter. Wirtz is thrown for a loss here. And we go to the second quarter with the Eagles trailing 15-0. Second quarter, the Eagle offense trying to get on track. Wirtz to Malik Henry for a 9-yard pickup. Next, Wirtz gets outside and gets 11 yards and a first down to the 20. Penalties push things back. Tyler Bass comes in and tries a 43-yard field goal, but it's off the mark, still 15-0. On the next drive, the offense struggling. Wirtz in trouble. He goes down. New Hampshire gets the ball back, and it's Evan Gray going 47 yards down inside the Eagle 20. And on the very next play from scrimmage, Knight on the money, and O'Connor a great catch for the touchdown. And head coach Tyson Summers not liking what he sees. The Eagles down 22-0 at the half. Second half, a scary moment as the game delayed for about 15 minutes after an apparent neck injury to defensive back Jay Bowdry. The offense later trying again to get something going. Montero Garrett breaking free for a 12-yard pickup. Later, it's Wirtz getting to the sidelines and going 20 yards. He'd have over 100 yards rushing. He's in New Hampshire territory. This drive stalls. Tyler Bass gets this one up and in from 43 yards out, and it's 22-3. The defense clamps down in the second half, shutting the Wildcats down. Logan Hunt with the sack. The Wildcats pinned deep. On the punt, they elect to step out of the end zone for the safety to make it 22-5. To the fourth we go, and it's Wirtz. Over to Mark Mashad for 15 yards. Later, it's Wirtz finding O.B. Fortune inside the 10. A couple plays later, Wirtz hits number 9 again, but this time, unfortunately, it's the Wildcats' Isaiah Perkins with the interception in the end zone. Time running out, and Wirtz taking off after the defense would hold. He goes 42 yards inside the New Hampshire 20. And then the first offensive points of the 2017 season coming on the L.A. Ramsby touchdown with 6 minutes to go, but this proves too little too late. Wirtz goes down, and so do the Eagles by a final count of 22-12.
We're Kyle and Jared Lott of Smack TV.
Each week we go into millions of homes to show you great hunting.
And we couldn't do what we do without TC Outdoors doing what they do.
It doesn't matter if your adventure takes you fishing in the local pond or on a cross-country hunt.
TC Outdoors is going to be there for you with gear, know-how, and support, just like they are for us.
They've been here for years. We know them.
And we trust them.
So come by TC Outdoors on Northside Drive. Tell them Jared and Kyle sent you.
And after the game, we had a chance to talk with head coach Tyson Summers and Miles Campbell about how things went.
It hurts. It's a tough one. We got to swallow it, but we just got to move on and get back to work on Monday.
What's the mood of the team after the game?
Like I said, it's tough, man. It hurts. We know we gave this one away. We made mistakes that we shouldn't have made, but like I said, we're going to continue to just work and continue to bounce back. So.
Did you guys underestimate New Hampshire at all, or did you guys?
They were a good team. They made, hats off to them, they made plays when they needed to make plays, and they capitalized on our mistakes. So that's really it.
Took 3 quarters to score a touchdown against them. Was their defense that good, or you think you guys still aren't clicking on offense?
I don't want to take nothing away from them. I think it was a little bit of both. We made mistakes. Like I said, we had drives where we could have capitalized, but penalties killed us, and they capitalized. But our defense played us good, and they did what they needed to win.
As far as football game goes, I'm upset as I can be. I'm frustrated as I can be. And not being able to execute the way we need to. We don't get ourselves out to a start in the first half the way we need to. Drive the ball down the first series and have a really costly turnover. A series that you felt like you should have been able to come away with, a touchdown, at least a field goal. Wind up being able to not get off the field on third down through the other series of it. It's 14-point swing, right there in the beginning where we should have been able to be up at least 7-0. Again, first half not being able to battle back and give ourselves a chance, not being able to get any points on the board offensively, and how frustrating that is from a lot of different viewpoints. Lost, again, mentioned it earlier, but lost a turnover battle, 2 big drives where we wind up making, just poor decisions with the ball, and doesn't give ourselves really a chance to do it, and I'm just upset, frustrated as I can be. A lot of things we got to go back to work at, a lot of things we've got to go look at as a coaching staff, look ourselves in the eye and see if we're doing the right things or not. And that's a big part of as we move into the next week or two. We've got an open week here, and we'll try to take a look at those things and see what we can do. Defensively, again, we wind up winning a lot of different things from the statistical category, but that's, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we lost the game 22-12. We had our opportunities to get back into it in the second half. Weren't able to take advantage of all of those opportunities as they came, and wound up getting beat. Felt like in the first half we were beating ourselves. So, positives to take away from it. Logan Hunt, I thought Logan played well. Logan had 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. I thought Mark Mashad was able to catch a couple big passes for us and do something with the ball once he caught it. I do believe that Shai continues to battle. He had some high numbers from a statistical standpoint tonight, and we've got to come back and go to work. And we've got to, again, all of us, players, coaches, same thing I told them, it is going to be tough. And we're going to have to be able to look at some of the things, again, that we're doing to give ourselves a chance. Started off the season 3-0 last year, and we've got to be able to turn our season around right now, no different than an Arkansas State was able to do last year, and that's got to be the example. And it is. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Players, coaches, all of it, and we're going to have to be able to go back to work and give ourselves a chance once we get into, an open week through this next kind of week. And what we're doing here in Birmingham, and then being able to move on once we get back to Statesboro and have a good plan for what we're doing.
Coach, do you feel like there's major overhauls that need to be done on offense?
We've got to be able to score points, and we ain't done that. So we're going to have to take a look and see what all those things are. We tried to be able to make some adjustments to some things, whether it's tempo, motion, a lot of different things going into this game while still staying in what we were trying to do from a base standpoint, and try to be able to give them some different looks and trying to be able to throw the ball with a little bit more efficiency at times. And so we'll have to take a look. That's a decision we're going to have to make once we get in there, tonight and get back after we've graded the film, and try to make sure that there's obviously going to be some kind of overhaul. Yes.
You guys were pretty high on the running backs, obviously. You had 2 returning guys that you thought a lot of. You also had an offensive line that you guys talked quite highly about how well they've done. Can you put your finger on what's going on the offense, why they're not being able to move the ball?
Well, a lot of it, again, like tonight, we sit there and we've got plenty of yards, but we don't come away with any points. We put ourselves in some bad positions. The third down scenario is not terrible tonight like it really was last week, but we've got to be able to do those things, and at the end of the day, that's all it becomes about. It's how do you score points? And we haven't done that. And I'm as frustrated and upset as I can possibly be. And there's some different reasons that we feel like those things are getting created, and that's our job as coaches to be able to look at it and be able to make some adjustments. How big or how small, I wouldn't want to say right now. We'll have to do that when we get in there and look at all of it tonight and in our staff meeting.
First time Georgia Southern's been 0-2 since '94. First time they've lost to a lower division school since '94. What do you tell the fans or the people who are like so frustrated like you are right now to keep hoping alive?
Well, again, our fan base got more than a right to be frustrated. They do, and I promise you I don't want to continue to go through it. I mean, as we go through right now, our fan base being upset is certainly something I understand. And it's certainly something that I got to continue to combat and continue to be able to try to do a good job within our locker room and making sure that those guys understand in the locker room how much we still care about them. But we got to keep getting better, and we got to go to work. Like I told our team today, whenever we finished up, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for us to get this thing finished up the way we want it to be. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at practice, and it's going to be hard in the community. It's going to be hard in a lot of different places. And if we can dig down deep and we can continue to make sure we understand how much where we're trying to get to and continue down that path, we got a chance to be successful. If we don't, it's going to be even harder.
All right, Mike, you got an extra week. Sometimes the bye week comes at a good time, sometimes it comes at a bad time. I'd have to say, with the way things are going, it's almost time to try to overhaul some things, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know. Shai Werts did rush for over 100 yards, but he looked tentative out there a lot. I don't know that you put all the struggles on the offense on his shoulders, but you got Wesley Fields and L.A. Ransby. You're still not making those big plays that Georgia Southern's used to seeing. Do you think this is fixable, or do you think this is something that they're going to struggle with the rest of the season?
Well, anything's fixable. No bad team stays bad forever. They eventually figure something out. Just as no good team stays good forever, they've got to go at it every single day to make sure they're staying at that level. So Georgia Southern, they know what they have to do. It's obvious that the plays aren't there, like you said, those explosive plays that offense needs to keep their defense off the field, to get them ahead in games so they can play from ahead. Still haven't held a lead at any point this season. So I think it's fixable, but I do think that the bye week is definitely necessary, not only with the weather concerns, getting everybody back to town, but I think that a few days of long long days in the film room are really what they need first. They need to figure out where it's maybe breaking down mentally or schematically before you can figure out how to get better physically.
Do you think there's any chance of going under center any? Do you think there's any chance that maybe they put LeBarrett Anthony or Cato, give them a chance at playing some quarterback? Or do you think they just go with Shy, keep the offense the way it is, and try to tweak some things?
Well, I think that they spent the entire offseason kind of knowing that Shy Wirtz was one of the very likely contenders to be the starting quarterback. And as a young guy, you worry about confidence a little bit, but at the same time, you're 2 games in, and it's one thing to worry about a guy's confidence, but he's got to prove that he belongs out there. So with that in mind, I think that they stick with Shy Wirtz. I think that that's what they planned for much of the offseason. At the same time, he's not the only one that gets reps on practice days, so if one of the other guys starts outshining him, well, you say it about every other position. And with Georgia Southern, a quarterback's a leader, but at the same time, he's a big ball carrier, and you got to put your best out there in order to get the offense going.
All right, as we mentioned, a bye week and then on the road to Indiana. We thank you for joining us from here in Legion Field. I'm Josh Aubrey for Mike Anthony. Hope to see you again soon.